can sit normally now.
Okay.
No. I put your head upper.
Your computer, just bend it to the front, just like what you just did now.
Okay.
For your computer, for your head to be. You need to raise your head. Yeah, good. That's it.
Happy to be back again.
Yeah, after like 2 or 3 weeks break. This is due to this is.
I've been following the last message. How do we do it today? Do we continue with your questions?
No. I think I gave my questions. No problem. We continue with the things anything you plan.
All right. Okay. I would like to share some link with you.
Okay.
Okay.
So you've been following what messages? This Adeboye.
That thing is going viral. It's going viral everywhere and everybody talking. And his children that used to come to attack now, they no longer say anything again. They have seen the message real. They hear him saying it.
Oh, sorry. We are on already.
Okay.
Just a minute. Let me quickly welcome the people on Facebook.
Okay, this link I'm sending, we might use it.
Okay.
It's a link to you, the YouTube link.
You want us to use it on the live program now, right?
Yes.
Какой-то они хотят, чтобы мы показали, не слишком поздно сейчас показать линк, он прислал какой-то линк на Skype. You are supposed to have sent it to them a bit earlier.
Yes, I wasn't sure if, let's just keep that. Let's just continue with this aspect. Okay. We should just keep that. I wasn't sure if we're going to continue with your question.
Okay. So here we have Gift Blessing, Oluwaseun is here, Francois, Helen Wellington, Bumi Benro, Akimbo Boye, Rogokome, Kathy Eme, Flora Ibrahim. Welcome everyone. Nice to see all of you. We are back here with Innocent to continue our talk on the conversation with an atheist. And so I'm sure we've had a few references or letters that have come in from various people, or some interesting comments that some of you might be interested in, and you would like us to talk more about. So here we are, we're ready. And Innocent, please go ahead and take charge.
Thank you so much, DSA. Happy to be with us again. I have received so many questions, so without any delay, I'll just go straight to read them. We took a break for a week, but I've been enjoying the last message service.
Last messages? You mean the ones on Pastor Adeboye?
Yes, I'm really happy seeing that the church system is being attacked. Not necessarily the church system. I don't see it as an attack against God, but an attack against human manipulation. So many Christians, so many people who do not understand the system now. I understand that humans, once they hold on to something, they are always afraid to leave it because they don't know, they don't understand the new idea being introduced to them. But the moment they understand the new idea, they can be able to adopt it. They worry less about it. So I've seen many people who are panicking. Oh, this person that I respect so much, this Geo that I respect so much like a demigod, can be so faulty, can be so vulnerable to certain stuff. There was this thing they were saying about men of God, that either you are attacked by three things. They say it's either by a woman, or by money, or by power, which is fame. So we can see that that the Jew is not exempted from some of those things. Probably, we don't know if he's interested into women yet, but we can see that power is driven by power and by money. You can see how his message is focalized on. So I won't delay much time. I'll just go straight. I know many people.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear your feedback on that. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So the message is in. I shared it to so many atheist groups so that they will see. Most of them that they came in, they were like, this DSA, we don't like him. I say, well, look, he is the person that is challenging the Nigerian church now. Go and listen to him and see that he's creating a revolution. He's not yet in Nigeria and people are already panicking. And to be honest with you, I think the next 10 years, I don't know, is a prediction that all these GOs, their legacy will be wiped out because all their trickery will put to people to see that they have been faking and deceiving people through the message you're doing. So it's a very big thing for me, and I really encourage a lot of people. Anytime, any more opportunity I find myself, I tell people, go ahead, listen and watch, think, use your mind is important. So thank you for the boldness.
But I would not say it's due to what I've done, even though I'm the one who released the videos. But it's very interesting the way Nigerian journalists and blogs are working. All of them copy it, and they will go and sign their name on it.
Yes.
But nobody else has that video, only me, and I'm the one who released it. But they go and put their name on it. The little part that they get from my message, they will remove my voice, and put the man alone and put their stamp on top of it.
You know, when I saw it, I was like, it was DSA that brought this video out. In short, in one of the video, your voice was in the background, but we couldn't see your face. I saw the video and I played it. I heard you were laughing in the video. But this is DSA's way laughing in the video. Your face was not meant to be seen. And nobody gave you the credit. The video were going viral everywhere, every blog. They took it on. That the freeze commented on. Yeah, so many people are voicing out. And I believe right now, if they show them some of those, if those GOs see some of this video, they will start panicking. Because it is there for them to see, right in front of them. They can't even deny it. I'm just curious, like, after watching that video, can they be able to have the courage to face their congregation to continue such messages? It should be something. It must be
I think if they only show, let me tell you what will happen. And that's the mistake the bloggers are making, and that's what they don't know about the brainwashing and with the power that these GOs and the pastors have over their congregation. What they have done right now is that they have removed my comments. Because even if the laughter is there and something, that's not what matters. The comments is what matters. Mm-hmm. Now, when they have now removed the comments, it's not everybody, an average Nigerian, even not an average, even an intellectual Nigerian cannot break it down. They could say that it is strange, it is bad. The only thing everybody is saying is that, oh, you go to hell if you don't pay tithe. That's all. But there are so many points. I've written more than 1,000 points.
That's true.
You know, and I've given out like 500 points already of the things that are wrong. So, and I'm just breaking down and doing critical analysis of what is going on. But the way they just make it to go, they only made his voice or his words to go viral. And that is not enough for people to really see what is that mean. So the pastors will use that. And especially people who know them, people who trust them, people who are already in this system, they just say, because they hear that anyway all the time.
Yes.
The problem is not in them hearing that Adeboye said that. They are used to, they don't see anything wrong. They are used to seeing that. It is people who are outside of the church that will be, that will be surprised and shocked and that will be taken aback because they are not used to hearing that. But the ones who are in the system, they tell them that every Sunday. So they know they need to hear. That's why I take all the time. And I'm breaking it down, and I'm breaking down into details, almost into every word. The reason is because that is when people will begin to, I never thought about that. Oh, why can't I see that? They don't hear those things anymore. They don't see. They only, you know, see what people underline. Somebody needs to hear the comment. Yeah, I don't know if you are getting what
I understand because you're right. It's very clear that the church members are used to hearing that. So there's no any additional commentary. Okay, yes, the GO said such a thing, but yes, okay, what else?
What else? What is wrong?
What else?
Some people will even say, what is wrong with that? But when
Add
they
DSS name,
yeah.
because first of all, if your name is there, they will come and research you. They will research you to attack you. But if they come with the attack, they will see that there are other messages behind that if they even take the. I saw that during the session, the live session, people were leaving comment, negative comment. Somebody will, almost every single individual will come in, they're posting the same comment. They're saying, why are you judging? Leave it for God, leave it for God to judge. You quote the chapter, but you didn't. Okay, you said you quoted the chapter, but you didn't give the chapter. I think it's important that people have it. You said that God asks us to judge the spirit, to see it, to judge the spirit if the spirit is of God or not. But people are afraid because their GOs are using fearmonger to be able to press them down, not for them to use their mind to think and to question things. So I think I don't know the chapter. People should go in and search. The Bible encourage people to judge the spirit. He said, compare it and see if it's the spirit of God or not.
Yeah.
He said, even if an angel come to you and tell you such a thing, you should not believe it, but take the word of God as it is. Now your Jesus is misquoting the word of God. He's adding his own thing and putting fear. Even when he tried to manipulate the Bible, people were seated. No, they can't even challenge him. You see, he seemed calm and very subtle, but very penetrating. If you see the method he's employing, only if you ask experts, psychologists to analyze that man's mentality, he's equivalent to a serial killer. He's a madman seated there. I'm sorry to use that word, but the way his brain functions, I don't know if he actually believes what he's saying, or he has convinced himself that that's the truth. For him to get, he's been programmed, he's been motivated by something. So teaching comes out naturally for him to just threaten the people. You know, it's really, really sad. People should wake up. Thank you, DSA. I'm really, really honored to be part of this movement and getting to be with you, to talk to you today, because that has been my cry ever before. I pretend, I claim that I have a problem with religion, this concept of religion. That has been my problem, the way people practice religion. I've never had any problem with God. I just see that I keep questioning everything that I see around me. So people think that we are crazy sometimes when they see us. They say, are you okay? I say, well, let the God that gave me this brain to think this way judge me, because he gave me the brain to be able to analyze stuff. I don't know, it just started like that. I don't know what inspired it. It started. I became insatiable, searching for knowledge. So people should be able to think logically and go on, make research, try to understand things, and that's how it is. Yes. So thank you, DSA. Well, let's go quickly. People are eager to hear what you say. So many people send me messages. Someone say, I can't wait for your interview, and DSA that is always interested. That they have been learning, because in their mind is the same question they have been having. The similar question. Somebody also said that if you're a Christian and you've never reached to a point where you say you are an atheist, that you have not yet experienced it. That you must be able to self-doubt, be able to reconstruct things, be able to ask questions until you are sure that, yes, this is your stand. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So the moment I see message from people, it gave me courage to continue, because I've seen that people are really inspired and are blessed with this interview and the way it's going on. So keep sending your messages, and thank you, DSA, for making your platform available for people to get to be able to question, to use their mind. Anytime I see somebody, they tell me, if I ask a person, so many Ukrainians in the Ukraine, I ask them, do you know DSA? They say yes. And some of them are not coming to the church. They don't know you. They're not associating with you. I feel pain. I don't know why. And they're Christians. I feel pain. I was like, okay. Anytime somebody tell me that they know DSA, they're associated with DSA, I say, oh, okay, you are safe. Because this is somebody that doesn't want to brainwash you. He's giving you ways to liberate yourself. So I always feel happy that way. So let me go in straight at this.
Yeah, because people who are Africans and come to Ukraine to study, many of them are already brainwashed before they came. So when they hear me saying something that is not in line with what their pastors are saying, they have already warned them. So some of them don't even want to come near me. They are afraid of getting converted. So that's why some of them will not even associate. But some of them are thinking I'm just another mega church pastor to whom it is difficult to get to. So some of them don't even try to get to me.
I saw somebody, one pastor in the church, he's warning his church members. I think it's in the UK. That Sunday, Adelaja is quoting. I think one of the members called on the platform. She was like, it was through that warning that she came to search for you. But the pastor wasn't in the church. And then she wanted to know who is this Sunday Adelaja. She came in and she's hooked. She cannot be able to go back. And they don't keep warning their church members. They will come and search for you. And we'll see what they will bring out of it. This person say, as Samoa, say, bless you, innocent. I am humbled by your humility. I believe that the God you never believed existed will use you greatly for his work. Thank you. And the kind day Adeni said, we see this coming. Okay. When the time comes, you will shake the world for Christ. The DSA will gladly mentor you. We trust him that much. Okay. I think this is a reply to the last message we had, that the counter atheism. So many people find it really magnificent. I was taken aback. I wasn't expecting it. So it was. Innocent was born at this time to question and save unbelievers. And DSA was born and groomed to give the answers that will humble innocent and others to come to the realization that God exists and is bigger. I surrender. That's what the person said. I surrender. Okay, the same kind of day, and then he say, innocent Magaji, we see this coming. Okay, crying, trying to listen hard. This is it. They were touched. Some of them were emotional about the last interview. So you talked about. I was battling because you asked me a question if I can be able to tell how my role in choosing the country of my birth. And of course, my initial answer was that I do not have any problem with the concept of God, with God per se. The only problem I have was with the concept of God, which is the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, and all those things. But then after the interview, I kept asking myself, because the answer you gave, it doesn't seem it was directed to me. I say because I realized that you were answering it directly to somebody, to the person who claims an atheist, with the assurance. Because I had an interview with a friend of mine. He said that he's a Gnostic atheist. Gnostic atheist is a firm position that I am setting. I am sure that there is no God. It's some certain very strong extreme atheism. They said. So I was like, okay. So I was questioning myself. With the answer you gave, I said, oh, does it literally hear the answer I gave? Because he kept saying that no. An atheist, you should question yourself. So I want to reiterate it that this question is directed to most atheists that are listening to us and to those that will listen in the future times, that is actually directed to you, that you should ask yourself, do you have any role in determining which country are you born? Some of them came in with different theories. They said that there is a biological explanation to it. Some of them say there is a spiritual explanation to it. They say that you were just explaining the spiritual aspect of it. So they came in with 3 different theories that it explained it in 3 different ways. I say anyway, spiritual, political, biological. I call it an intrapersonal question, because it's something that you see, that you accept that you as human, you are incapable of doing something. So you have already accepted your weakness, and now you acknowledge that yes, you don't play any role in determining which country you come from, your height, or the color of your eyes, or the color of your skin, or whatsoever. So now the problem is you're questioning the concept of God, this religion that was being passed on to us. And some of them raise valid questions. They raise so many valid questions, which I'm about to read. And then we get to see them and see what he will say. So, too much talk for me. Okay. It's one of the first questions before I go deeply into it. They say, this person say, what's the purpose of death according to the Bible?
If this person is an atheist, then there is no need for me to answer the question. But if the person is not an atheist and is somebody who is inquisitive, who wants to know the truth, then it might be worth it to answer the question.
I suppose this person must be an atheist because, or maybe a Muslim, I don't know, I didn't take the name. It's the purpose of death because, okay, there were other messages that follow behind that was death to satisfy God's anger or to quench his anger, or why was it? Why would God set death for humans?
Well, I've already explained this in one of the sessions we did when I spoke about the dialectics of life. And if the person is an atheist, I'm going to use atheistic argument that why we need death. We need death because according to atheism and according to philosophy, according to materialism, a school in philosophy, which is propagated by atheists, life is about evolution. And evolution is the involving of existence of something from one quality to the other, to a better quality, from one quality of life to the other. That's why people are able to say we came from evolving. First of all, we were like animal, like a monkey, then we became like human and all that. So evolving, always after many years, after millions of years, things always evolve from one quality to the other. That is the atheistic argument. But for that evolving to take place, the previous species has to die. That is why, for example, for us to plant a mango tree and to harvest mango, the mango seed has to die for a better quality to come out, for it to evolve into a tree that will bring forth more larger quantity of mangoes. So that's how life, according to them, evolves. Life is supposed to evolve from one quality to the other. So just even using that argument, it is clear that that rule is the same. It will be the same not just for species and for animal world, but it's also for human too. And even in atheism itself, it says it's for human because we evolved from monkey. So, but why should they stop? Why should that evolvement stop with Earth? So I'm now telling them, okay, now imagine that evolution continuing, because why should it be going on, evolution going on, and then it stops? If it is an ongoing process of going from quality to better quality, then it will not stop. It has to keep on. Evolution has to be continuous, non-stoppable. So if evolution is non-stoppable, but we die, then why do you say we die? And why do you say when we die, that's the end of it? If evolution is continuous, it means we don't die. It means we only keep on evolving. So if that, because that's evolution, we keep on going from one quality to the other. And just like when a seed dies, it doesn't just die. It dies in one quality, in one class of existence, and evolution evolves to another, a better quality, a higher quality of life, and higher quality of existence in a tree that has now thousands of fruits Same with man's life. Man's life here on earth is in a lower quality of life. And a greater quality of life happens when we die. We exchange, according to the Bible, the mortal body, which is a lower quality, for an immortal body, which is a higher quality of life. And now, if this mortal body could die, now the immortal body doesn't die. If this mortal body, can feel pain, now it evolves into the body that doesn't feel pain. That's why it says in heaven there's no pain, and there's no tears, and there's no crying. So we evolve. Death is for us to evolve into a perfected stage of life, or to experience a perfect life, and that is what we call heaven or eternal life.
Okay.
But that is the philosophical answer.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm going to give the biblical answer, it's going to be like this. Death is inevitable for man to go back to where he came from. Because we are, first of all, a spirit being. We are not, first of all, a body being. Because if we had been a body being, then we would not have, the body itself would be, either preserved one way or the other. But the body goes back to the dust. So which means that we are not body. It disappears. That is what is rotting. But we are a spirit being because the spirit is what comes into the body and makes a man to be alive. So, and that's why we shed the body, because who we really are doesn't die. And that doesn't die is the spirit. And that spirit is us. We don't die. That spirit man goes back to the original where it came from when the breath of God was released upon that body that is mortal. So the mortal body comes to become immortal. But there's no more mortal body. It's a spirit body now. And because the spirit remains, but it now gives you its own body that will now not let that your body be as weak and as perishable as the previous one was. So we go back to our God, because that life, that spirit comes from God, and then we go back to God who gave that spirit in the first place.
D'accord. French people say d'accord.
So that is that would be the spiritual explanation. We were in God before we came to the earth, and to God we return.
Okay, so is there anything like premature death?
I think it's possible, because we know that there are abortions, we know there are killings, homicides, assassinations, there are accidents. There could be premature death, but that's why it is not the length of time you live on earth that matters, but the quality of what you've been able to do while you're here on earth. Yep.
So this premature death, is it that we have babies that die in an early stage of their life with unaccomplished dreams? They never dream to get to drink water, or breathe the air, or take cars that have been built around. So is it safe to conclude that these babies actually, that was part of their destiny, that was their life, that was their destiny to die at such stage by such tragedy? Or it's like just like that? Does it just flow like that? Or is it programmed that they would die in such a manner?
No, it's not always programmed.
Okay.
For example, a child dies at a premature stage because the father and mother were having AIDS. Or, for example, a child dies because of the infection that came into the child because the mother was smoking. Or a child died prematurely because the father beat the mother. So you see, a lot of the things that we see as tragedies are human-made. They are consequences of our own actions. But then we have the tendency of not blaming ourselves. It's the same thing like happened in the Garden of Eden. It's the same thing with me and you today. If we have an opportunity, we look for who to blame for whatever we have done. So instead of humans to take responsibility for the things that don't go right and the things that we've actually done wrong, we have the tendency to say that, okay, if there is God, why is it that God didn't stop it? Whereas he has given us the will. We are the ones. God couldn't stop you from smoking. And so if your child is infected, you don't say God is to blame. It's just like people who start war and they say, but why did God allow wars? Because if he's a good God, the children are dying in the war. But that is very silly because that is very inconsiderate of those people who talk like that. Because God didn't start the war. Men started the war. So why don't you say men are supposed to think and take decisions that will not lead to that war? For example, let's say in America now, some people are saying there could be third world war. And they are praying God should not permit it. God, go and pray to Donald Trump. And then even Americans themselves are saying, no, it is not. It is Donald Trump who started it. Yeah, who bombed Syria. It's not the American people. So see, now he is to blame. It's now Donald Trump to blame, but not American people. But who campaigned for him? Who voted him in? You say that's how people are. Yeah, he is to blame. He's the bad guy, but we are innocent. It's our government to blame, but who put them in? Just for you to see the nature of man. And since God cannot be here to defend himself, so we put all the blames on him and say, but he said he's a good God, so let's talk about that. But we are not talking about our irresponsibilities. Let's say, for example, the atheists always talk about God and say that if God is so good, why is it that he allows for children to be hungry in Africa, dying of hunger in Ethiopia and all over Africa? Why is it that poverty, corruption, and death in African continent? And most of these atheists who are saying this are white, Europeans or Americans. And I tell them, the reason why, the answer to your question, why is it that God allowed all this hunger and the children to be dying of hunger in Africa? I see that reason just before my face like this, in the person who is asking the question, in the atheist. Because you come from a continent and a country whereby what you throw away alone in food, not what we have, what you just throw away alone is more than what Africa needs never to die of hunger. And you live in that country. You support that government. You vote that government in. You live the lifestyle that doesn't consider those Africans. And now you are blaming God, you are blaming it on God? Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Humans have their own role to play, and they've got to take a large portion of the responsibility on themselves.
So why doesn't sin carry natural consequences then? Because we see human action results to consequences, the cause and causation, cause and effect now. So why doesn't sin that we do carry natural consequence. For instance, like if you commit fornication, you will pay the price for it. We see that adultery brings in pain and other stuff. Why should we have to wait to go to heaven before we could pay the price, before God could take us for the judgment for that?
Everything attracts consequences. What is it? You tell me it's one or two things that don't attract consequences.
I think this person has a contention with why do we have to wait until we die before we get judged?
Okay, so it's not about not having consequences, right? It's about God.
The question is actually, why doesn't sin carry natural consequences?
Well,
Like, who are we sinning against? Are we sinning against ourselves, or are we sinning against God that He has to wait until we die before He?
Okay, so the issue is that God is waiting till we die before He judges, right?
Mm.
You see, that is the treacherousness and the wickedness of man that we have just seen in that question. What he's trying to say is that why is it that God's judgment is not swift or not swift enough? Well, let me tell you, if God's judgment were to be swift enough, then you have to accuse him that he doesn't have patience with people, he doesn't give people second chance. What about the fact that that person that is judging immediately right now could have a second chance in the next 10 years or 20 years to change his mind? If God will not wait for heaven and he will be swift in condemning and judging humans here, we will accuse him of intolerance. Then he would not have given everybody a benefit of a doubt and chance to change and for repentance for as long as possible. The very same thing that everybody is supposed to commend as a sign of love of God, as a sign of God's love, as a sign of God's patience, as a sign of God's long suffering, as a sign of God's perseverance with us, is the very same thing that question is attacking. Because God is rather supposed to be commended for giving us, for example, in the next 10 years, we don't know what we are going to be thinking about, what you are going to be thinking about. You might be in my position. So you will be thinking, thank God, God didn't condemn me and he didn't judge me right there that time when I was doubting him. And also a lot of, humans have a tendency to change their minds. Humans have a tendency to rethink. And humans have a tendency to change their decisions. So many thousands and millions and billions of people have changed their decisions. What about if God had condemned them before they changed their mind or decisions? That's why God can only be commended for his long suffering, which is coming out of his love. He's giving everybody a chance till the last minute. I don't see that as a weakness. I see it as a strength of love.
Okay. So after we died, we get judged?
Yeah, because you had all the time while you were here. You have consequences on the earth, but you have judgment in heaven.
Oh, I see. Okay. I think that those two words are very good. Okay, this person is saying, so what is destiny anyway? Is it that inescapable feature designed for and conferred on us by the custodian of faith? Or is it the outcome of the sum total of our effort?
Everybody's destiny is first of all in their hands before it is in the hand of God.
Okay.
God has given you destiny just by giving you a chance to go and prove yourself. But he's not giving you a chance to go and put yourself empty-handed. He has given you destiny by giving you potentials. At your birth, when you are born, at the moment of your birth, he has incorporated in you some grace, some potentials, some abilities, some uniqueness. The fact that your eye print nobody else has it. That is a blessing. That is a destiny right there, a potential. Your uniqueness. The fact that your fingerprints cannot be duplicated by anybody else, that is uniqueness. That is a blessing right there. That is destiny right there. So when we talk about destiny from the perspective of God, it's about him loading you with goodness and not leaving you and letting you come here without resources. Destiny from the perspective of God are the resources he has put in you for you to be able to become everything you need to become, you need to become. Now, your response to those resources is now what makes your destiny to be in your hands. So God gives everybody talent and send them to the earth. But whatever they do with that talent is their own responsibility now. So what is destiny? Whatever they do with it.
Okay. So he gave Beyonce a very good voice to sing.
But there are many
That's our
people,
destiny.
there might have been many people all over the world that could have had greater potential in singing than Beyonce and didn't make any use of it.
Interesting perspective. Do angels have free will? Do they have free wills?
I guess as much.
As humans?
Humans are operating in a place where, apart from themselves, they have Satan that has access to the same ambience or to the same place of abode as humans. Unlike humans, even though angels might have free will, but they are not manipulated by a third force. So they are in perpetual atmosphere of good.
Okay.
Not being capable of doing evil.
So what's the essence of giving them a free will in the first place?
Well, the free will is, I think there is a free will in the sense that God gives them instructions, an assignment to do. So if God has to give them an assignment, it means they can either say yes or no. And we know that there were 1/3 of the angels that were cast out of heaven just because they rebelled. And for you to have rebelled, you must have had your own opinion.
True.
That you didn't want to do what was required of you. So that it shows to me, or that's a proof to me that there was, or there is, a certain degree of human will. I mean, maybe not human will, but power of choice with the angels as well.
Must have been an incredible experience for God to be able to create. He created these angels and made them. Let's assume that he has never had any opposition. God was God. There was no opposition. There was no evil. There was no any power opposing him. But here is his creation. He created Satan, I suppose. He created Lucifer.
Not quite.
Okay.
He didn't create Satan or Lucifer as such. He created an angel that was called Bright Star. And is the one that we call Lucifer and Satan today. But God created him in another concept. It's just like saying, for example, your mom will tell you, innocent didn't leave Nigeria as an atheist. I raised him up a believer. So if they now ask your mom and say, is Innocent a believer or an atheist? To her, she will say, no, he's a believer. God created Satan good. He created him as a bright star. So whatever he evolved into was later on.
So was God aware of what Satan would turn into? That Satan would rebel against him someday?
I think maybe Satan himself was not aware that he was going to do that. I suppose that God definitely got to have an idea or a knowledge of it before it happened, because he was God. Mm-hmm. But he didn't create him with the intention of him becoming a rebel. He had a purpose for him, because the Bible tells us that the purpose that God had for him was to set up the musical instrument, to be a worship leader. And he did that well. So that was his purpose. He diverted from his purpose. And God could have seen that, and that's why God was able to resolve it and still put everything back into norm.
When you say put everything back into norm, what do you mean by that?
Because nothing was jeopardized in heaven, in the sense that now we have, we still have the people, the function and the role that Lucifer was supposed to be, carrying out is now being fulfilled and filled with other angels. So everything is replaced, everything is functioning.
In heaven.
Yes.
But the only place, the only creation now, we have seen several attempts by God in trying to redeem humans. First of all, from the very beginning that he created humans, there was chaos. The program, the plan he made for humans was distorted by the devil and the human that went out of their confines to break the law. So from that day, God tried to redeem humans. He tried to give humans second chance, several ways, because he's the just God, he's a merciful God. He tried to, for instance, you just explained a few minutes ago, if I understand clearly, he gave human death as a way of trying to renew them, to evolve them. I don't know if we should see that as a form of punishment to human soul, as a form of a chance to be able to renew human soul perpetually. So those are some of the attempts.
I would rather see it as a redemptive act. It could be punishment, but it's a redemptive punishment. You see, there are different kinds of punishment. When there is correctional punishment, and there are punitive punishment, which is correctional. So there is correctional punishment, which is positive. I would regard as redemptive punishment. But there is the punishment that doesn't give you the second chance to evolve or to be transformed and to change. So this particular punishment, I think, is a redemptive one. So I would see it as a blessing.
So we have seen God. First of all, he had a problem in heaven with the angels he created. Should I call it problem? Let me be mindful of the word I employ. Please do not be overly sensitive to the audience that are listening to us. I have to employ certain words so that I can pass the message clearly. We have a situation where God was in heaven with his angels, with his servants, with his worshippers, with the angels. So problems started even from heaven. Now we also have a situation where on earth humans were created. Now the devil was sent down to earth because he was being punished for the crime he committed. So now we see God attempting to redeem humans through death, as we explained a few minutes ago. We also saw the attempt of drowning humans during Noah, because he saw that humans were so much sin and everything was so in chaos. Humans were wallowing in big time sin. So he drowned humans to be able to save their soul. We also saw the second attempt, which comes from Sodom and Gomorrah, where humans were being destroyed by fire. And we also saw the attempt where Jesus Christ came in to die on the cross. All this attempt, all this effort that God is trying to put, or to put human in the right position. And even after the death of Jesus Christ, human beings have known there was never any peace on earth, probably spiritually, but physically, there was never any time in the history of humanity that there was any stable peace and there was progress continuously. All we had was war, death, diseases, and so many chaos. So many people feel as if they are not seeing the effort that God is putting in place, even though there are several attempts to save human. So is he trying to save the soul? Is he trying to save the body? That is another question all by itself. So that this person is asking that, despite all these attempts that God has been putting to try to save humans, to try to redeem humans, to try to put human in the right position, what guarantee do we have that the next heaven that he's promising us will not be another chaos if he had problem in the past heaven, and even the earth that he's created was a chaos? And what guarantee do we have that the third heaven that he's promising us, that after this earth, that what guarantee there is that there won't be any chaos again, that nothing will come after? What guarantee do we have? This person needs an assurance. This person is an atheist. He wants an assurance that this heaven, that God can be able to manage his creation, can be able to manage his program. He will not be toying. He will not have difficulties in controlling his creatures anymore, that the next heaven will be okay, that another angel who has free will not be able to misbehave again, and then there will be another thing altogether. So what guarantee there is for this individual?
Mm-hmm. Well, the first guarantee is that the fact that this individual wakes up in the morning and there was no crisis, that the dawn didn't come because God forgot, or there was a crisis, there was no morning, and that we are just night is going on for the second or third or fourth day, and there is no morning. That is one guarantee. The second another guarantee is the fact that this person goes to sleep every day and wakes up without even his own effort. That should show this person that somebody is in charge, more in charge than the whole world when the whole world is sleeping and the earth is functioning, and they are all waking up as if it is to their own credit. The third guarantee is that you never had one day that the sun collapsed or we are in crisis, or the moon just dropped or problem day. So when he's talking about crisis, what is the of God's crisis, and what is the guarantee that everything will be okay when we get to heaven? But the first guarantee is that you have not been able to defy death. The fact that you are going to die and people die, that is a guarantee. If God is such a poor manager, at least help yourself and make his order not to work by at least preserving yourself alive instead of dying forever, so that you could prove to God that it doesn't have guarantee that things will happen. The fact that your grandfather and your grandmother is not being here, that is enough a guarantee. And the fact that you are going to die yourself is enough a guarantee. Too many guarantees all over.
It's a bit tricky. It's tricky because the human soul is afflicted with these pains, with fear, uncertainty. So it's normal that people come up with such questions, that we see actually that despite the guarantees that are, despite these things, there are these things that yes, there's every possibility that sun might just fall on the earth someday, that some meteorite will just fall on the earth, so some kind of a comet somewhere can just fall and everything will be changed.
How many times have you heard of those kind of fears? I've heard it all my life. I've heard that fear all my life. And then the people who spread the news about the previous fear, they come this time and become silent and they just disappear. You wonder why they disappear? Where is the thing falling? The date is passed and nobody remembers anymore. Until after the next 3, 4, 5 years, they come again with warm upgrade. And by the time the day passes, nobody comes out to give you interview. It is only 2 days or 3 days before it comes out, everybody begins to panic. And when nothing happens, nobody also comes out to give you interview. People are just making news, enjoying themselves.
Okay, let's not tarry too long with this subject. I guess it's a very tricky subject to thank you though for the answer. This other aspect is leading continuously. Say this is Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 to 8. We're not like the Jews that will misquote the Bible. So if you have your Bible, you can open it. I'm talking to our audience. You can check it and understand the context. I'm reading from, I think, King James Version or New International. I don't know what version. But it says here that Genesis chapter 6, verse 8 to 1. It says,
8 to
when
11.
human.
You mean 8 to 11?
Yes, 8 to 1, it says.
No,
I don't know if it's 8 to 11 here, but it's not 8 to 1.
8 to 11.
8 to 11.
It doesn't go from up down now. You cannot go from 8 to 1.
No. 1 to 8. I mean, 1 to 8.
1 to 8. Okay.
Yes, Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 to 8.
Genesis 6, 1 to 8, yes.
Yes. It says that when human beings began to increase in numbers on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they choose. Then the Lord said, my spirit will not contend with human forever, for they are mortals. Their days will be 120 years.
Okay. So what was the question?
Then, furthermore, it says, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days. And also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them, they were the heroes of old, men of renown. And it continues, it says, the Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thought of the human heart was only evil all the time. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. So the Lord said, I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, and the creatures that move along the ground, for I regret that I have made them.
So what's the question?
Okay, the questions follow is that there are five questions here. The person say okay, it's a commentary on God's emotion and the lack of anticipation of the future outcome of man. That here God shows regret that he wasn't aware that human would turn to that. Does that means that nullifies his omniscience virtue, his omniscience aspect, that God is all-knowing. So that means that nullifies him. And then the second, okay, I don't know if I should read or you want to address that, or should read the next question?
No, let's do it one by one.
Okay.
That is very similar to the question that I already addressed about Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you said, did God know that you had asked me, did God know that Lucifer was going to rebel or Satan was going to rebel? And I told you that God, when He created him, He didn't create him to become Satan. And He didn't create him to do evil. He created him with a purpose. And at the point of His creation, God had that purpose for him, which is to bring praise and worship in heaven. And that was the purpose God created him for, and that's what God expected of him. Now, because God is God and is omniscience, is most likely, like I said, even Satan himself didn't know he was going to become like he became, Lucifer. So during those times, even God and Lucifer didn't anticipate anything bad. But once the evil was found in him, or the evil thoughts was conceived or accepted by Satan, at that point God will know. And God now could come out with an answer. So it is not, God is not reading meaning or suspicion into all His angels and say, I suspect you are going to do this. I think if God are going to do that, He's going to just, we are reducing God to human like us. And so when we are dealing with, if somebody is saying, but if He's God, if He's omniscience, why didn't He know before to the end? Well, God is dealing with His purpose. And like I said, that they have a free will. And a free will, even though He might be aware that this person will mess up, but God was not deciding this destiny of that person by what He knows, by being an omniscience, but by the action of the man at a particular time. So this is the issue that we are seeing here, that God said He regretted, is similar. He's trying to say that I created you for good. I fashioned you for better. I'm not expecting you to do evil because I didn't create you for evil. Now that evil is found in you, I have to act accordingly. So that's the way I would like us to look at it.
Okay. This question kept popping out. Yes. That's why I see that people are very worried about it. They see this emotion.
That's just one question, and you have several more there, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, let's continue.
So, yes.
No, so you make your comments.
I forgot what I wanted to say.
You are saying this question kept on coming up.
Yes. This question. When I saw it, you say you addressed it previously. When I saw it, it was intentional that I left it because I wanted to cancel it out because mostly you addressed some of these questions already in the past. But I wanted to hear what you would say about it because the question of God regretting that He created human and that He made human for a specific purpose, and that here's an individual who wants to understand that, who actually put that idea in devil's mind, an idea to rebel against God. First of all, the question is like this: that who influenced Lucifer? Because Lucifer is now influencing the rest of the world. So who inspired him in the beginning? Who gave him the idea that he can do such a thing and be good?
I think it is his ego. Not who, it is his ego. Yeah. Just like the ego of the atheist is informing them that there is no God today. The same thing will happen with Lucifer, because he said, I will arise, I will rise up, I will be as great as God. The same thing, thoughts of people, ego of people, makes them to assume things that are unassumable. Yeah.
Why is he responsible now for the rest of the damage in the world? Because it was his ego. He was the first person to use his ego to rebel against God. Because everything now that happened on what we believe that it was under the influence of the Satan, that the Satan influenced every evil thing that happens in human realm.
Well, that's not my school of thought. I'm sorry.
Okay.
My school of thought is that yes, Satan is responsible for the fall of man, for the initial sin, But on daily basis, Satan is not always responsible. It is man that is in charge on the earth.
So in the next line now, it says that who we are the sons of God, because it read here that the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. They married them and they made children with them. Who were the sons of God?
I have no idea. This particular scripture, I have some assumptions and presumptions and some inferences and references, but for me, truth has not been established yet. So I'm not going to speculate.
Okay. And then the next question is, who are the Nephilims?
No idea. I have, like I said, I have some speculations and references and inferences, but I will not go into the debate.
Oh, okay. So do you know anything about the Dogons?
No.
Ah, okay. I don't know if it's too late to play their video.
The Dogons, yeah, let's try to see if we could. I think it's a tribe in Africa.
Yes, in Mali.
Yes, that's what I know. I don't know much about them, but let's see the video on our Skype, please.
Please, the audience should patience with us because it's important that.
Yeah, what?
Nkanu tara Georgiana ale maso. Jarabi tara Georgiana ale maso egima. Nderini ngabedisa Ninjarabi mba bega nyalo ngala. Nderini ngabedisa Lekanu I want to know.
Yes, it's a long video.
Okay, I'm hearing you.
It's the wrong video. I just sent the dogons. Actually, that one fish is from Mali because I wanted to make a point about that.
So this is the wrong video, eh?
Yes.
Why did you?
The second video?
Why
Yes,
did you
the
stop
second.
me? Why did you stop me on time?
Because it's the same. They were the same on the same program, the initial program I made.
So you want
So
me to
this-
show the second
this-
video?
Yes, it's just like in a
Okay,
few minutes.
okay, we'll do
2
the
minutes.
second one now. Yeah.
Okay.
Numo, with 366 symbols given without meaning. The Dogon were charged with interpreting them and preserving the information for future generations. The symbols reveal an astonishing scope of astronomical knowledge, an infinite number of stars and spiraling worlds. After more than 5 years among the Dogon people, Dr. Guggenheim has gradually gained the confidence of the Dogon elders and acceptance into the inner circle of secret knowledge.
The Dogon believe the universe was born in a vast explosion, and as it opened up, everything that we know about and everything that the Dogon know about in the world came pouring out, and nothing was left except a shell. And this empty shell became the star that they call the Pontolo, and that we call Sirius B.
In 1950, astronomers confirmed the existence of the Dogon star. At the United States Naval Observatory, Washington, D.C., Chief Astronomer Dr. Irving Lindenblad devoted years to the search for the dark star.
The Sirius system is a very interesting challenge observationally because it is very difficult to observe a star 10 seconds from such a bright object as Sirius A.
After the years of effort, Dr. Lindenblad finally succeeded in taking this photograph of Sirius B and its giant companion. The Dogon possess even more startling information about the star they hold sacred. They say that when it gave forth all its energy, it collapsed in upon itself, becoming incredibly dense and so heavy that all the earthly beings combined cannot lift it. The San Fernando Observatory, Silmar, California. Dr. Gary Chapman is an astronomer specializing in the physical characteristics of stars. By splitting the light collected from a distant star into colored bands, its physical characteristics can be analyzed.
The Sirius B is fairly normal in the surface layers, but we do rely on the calculations to tell us that the interior is essentially out of nuclear fuel. It's a dead star. We know from modern calculations that it has a very, very high density, has a density about 5 million times that of water, and if you were to be on the surface of Sirius B right now, you'd be crushed very, very flat because the surface gravity is about 100 million times that of the Earth.
The symbol is explained. The knowledge preserved in rituals through the centuries has been confirmed. Beyond the Dogon knowledge of the dark star, the symbols reveal more information about the celestial universe. They correctly place the Earth and our solar system within the Milky Way and state correctly that the massive cluster of stars is far more distant than the planets. The understanding of astronomical movements led the Dogon to investigate the human anatomy. They discovered the circulation of blood in the body long before it was discovered by the English physician William Harvey in the 17th century. These symbols and the knowledge they hold are the legacy of the mysterious pneumos, the messengers from the dark star. Many cultures claim their knowledge was given them by godlike beings descended from the heavens. But the Dogons insist their gods descended from one star in particular, which they're able to identify and describe in detail. Does other evidence exist of this encounter between gods and men? In 1937, French anthropologists shot this rare film of the Dogon. They found the people in a frenzy of preparation for a huge ceremony. The scientists were told the funeral of an important man would soon take place. But all this was an elaborate deception designed to protect their secret knowledge. The anthropologists counted themselves fortunate to have the opportunity to observe the making of ritual masks representing the panoply of Dogon spirits. It would be years before the scientists would understand their true meaning. Ritual which the anthropologists witnessed was not a funeral at all. It was the Sigi, occurring every 60 years.
I think the video is finished.
Yep, okay.
Okay. We're back?
Yep.
Okay. The reason why that video is interesting, I think we have a few minutes left. I want you to comment on that because I read this book of Genesis, and then I was reading another book, the book of Enoch, which wasn't added at all in the Bible. And I saw so many elaborate examples of extraterrestrial visit among humans, so many mythologies, so many examples. And the scientists that made these Dogon people in Mali, they were just, I think they said their population about 300,000, they're living in one primitive village like that. The example they gave these Dogons is that some group of people actually came from space. They tried to describe the sound of the machine that came down, and that the knowledge was passed to them. This was something that even rivaled the Egyptian civilization. So that the next ritual that they're going to do, the Sigi, they call it every 60 years, they do it, is going to be, by I think 2023, they're going to do it again. So many people are booking, many scientists right now are booking with cameras because they want to experience it. It happens every 60 years. They want to be able to be part of it. Many tourist people are booking to go see these primitive people. They kept their civilization, even though most of them were being converted into Christianity, they refused to abandon their culture. Even the Christians among them still practice their local ritual. When time comes, they abandon their religion, they go on to practice it. So most of them were taken out of their community to Western world to be educated, to bring them back so that they can go to integrate into society and somehow influence them, but they never abandon this culture. And they have a king, and who till today no one can be able to access him. So that the scientists made these primitive people interview them, and they told them about a certain star that they were only able to confirm about it later when the Western world had telescope. So this is a very powerful African primitive, we can call it, belief system of some kind of group of people in a certain village wondering where they got this knowledge from. And if you heard the explanation of how the world was created, it was exactly the Big Bang theory. If you read further about them, how they even explain the galaxy. The galaxy, they call it a snail, because the snail has certain round style like this. They call it snail in their dialect. So they call it a snail, and they draw it on the ground, and they point out to the scientists that this is the location of the star, this is how it is, and there is another invisible star, and they call it the pale fox. So now scientists, after collecting this mythology from this group of people, they went and confirmed that, this thing that these people were saying is true. And that they confirm the existence of extraterrestrial knowledge that came to give them these things. We can't allow these people. It can never be a coincidence if this is confirmed accurately by science today. Then we still have another group of people in the Southern Africa. I told you about him, Credo Mutua, we know him already. So them too, they have this similar mythology. They have this group of people, they call them the Chitauri, that they have certain mythology. They say that some people visit them and give them the knowledge, and that he himself claimed that there was an experiment that was taken on his body. So they have a very vast mythology that is being confirmed by science today. It's a lot of things that they said. So reading this aspect of the Bible in Genesis, saying that they were sons of God, according to this Credo Mutua, he said that bloodline of kings and queens and people that are into power, influential people like Mandela's and the rest of them, that most of these family people, we are being direct descendants of some of these reptilians, some of these aliens that visited humans and had sexual intercourse with humans, and then some of these bloodlines are the royals today. Now, we even saw it in the Bible that some of those people, we are the people, the heroes of the old days. So I don't know, is the Bible confirming some of this myth around the world? Because not only in Africa, we see it in India, we see it in Asia, a lot of myth around it like that. People keep developing some distance. So can you comment on that, please?
Oh, yes. The Bible talks very extensively about necromancy. Is it necromancy? Is it necromancy?
Necromancy.
Yes.
The direct communication with the dead.
Not that one.
Necromancy is communication with the dead.
Necromancy is communication. I'm mixing it up with something else, which is the studying of the moon, stars, and galaxies.
Astrology.
Yeah. That is astrology. This one is not just astrology, but there was an ancient knowledge that is connected with the stars and the spirits. I think they used to call it, maybe it's necromancy actually, but it's not just.
It can necromancy, because necromancy is the communication with the dead, with the dead spirit.
Yeah, I think it's involving that too, but not just that. So I think the Bible frowns at that. The Bible doesn't. The Bible talks about it, but the Bible doesn't encourage it. So what I'm about to say is that yes, astrology. Also, the Bible talks about it, but the Bible doesn't encourage it, because they are exactly what you call it, extra celestial powers. And they are extra celestial powers, celestial power, extra celestial powers, terrestrial powers. Okay, extra celestial powers, and the reason why God is not condoning that, and the Bible recognizes it, that it exists, but we are not depending on it. There is a reason for it. But let me first of all establish the fact that the Bible talks about it and recognizes it. You remember when the 3 wise men came to acknowledge Jesus and congratulate Jesus on his birth? Those were these kind of people that you just showed now. People that had superior knowledge through the stars. But they were not just astrologers. So the Bible called them the wise men. But in some other interpretations, they were called it's not what's the word I'm looking for? No. Not, if this word I'm looking for is widely used by Masons. This is the science that the Masons use to build their religion on.
So are you talking about the light that reflects from the house with that theory that?
No, it's not just about the light. It's a science. Masons, yes. The Masons.
They use it as the building. They make sure that they have a direction of light it reflects to the house.
Yeah, so the Masons have this knowledge and they reflect within science. Maybe I should just call it science, but it is very similar to this thing that we are seeing in Africa. And it's very similar also with what these people who came to, the wise men that came to see Jesus. Now, they were not Christians, but they were not condemned by God as such. But there is a reason why they came and why God allowed them to come to pay homage to Jesus, the Son of God himself, even though God is not condoning that practice. So why did God allow it or allow them to come and pay homage to Jesus? Well, my own interpretation is that all superior knowledge that existed before Christ had to come and bow at the feet of Christ. Just like when Jesus came, this is for the secular world, for the whole world, for the whole universe. All the superior knowledge that existed in Egypt, all superior knowledge that existed in Africa, all ancient knowledge had to come from the four corners of the earth and bow down at the King of Kings, because he is the true light. And that's concerning the whole world, the Gentile world. The same thing repeated itself in regards to the Jewish nation itself. So that same similar thing that happened with Jesus when he was born, with the wise men coming to bow down to him, same thing happened when Jesus was about to be released as a son of God, when he went to the mountain of transfiguration. And in that mountain of transfiguration, there was Moses, Elijah, and who was this other person? Moses, Elijah, with Jesus on the mountain of transfiguration. Okay, so but mainly Moses and Elijah and Jesus. But Moses and Elijah, they are the most reverend, the most respected, the most worshipped. So they were the wisest men, they were the greatest knowledge, they were the superior personalities also that represented like the same wise men that came to bow down to Jesus. So these Moses and Elijah too had to bow down and had to take their leave, saying this is a new era, an era when God, who created the wise men, the God who created Moses and Elijah, the God who created the moons and the stars, the God who created the galaxies that these people are reading, has now become flesh. So it's not that these things are not real, but these are just the fact that God created them, because these Africans and the wise men, and they didn't create these things. They were only able to navigate beyond the earth into the space. And now some of them have even navigated beyond the planet Earth into our Milky Ways. But that is using the extraterrestrial powers to be able to do that. This is an art. It's a science, it's knowledge, it's superior knowledge. And these are spiritual stuff. So we cannot deny that they exist. They do. And
God gave the knowledge to do that.
Yes.
So is it encouraged, in your own opinion?
It was encouraged all over the earth before Christ came. I think now that Christ has come, that is the reason why it's not been encouraged, because the knowledge of God himself is Christ. And Christ himself is the word of God and the knowledge of God and the wisdom of God. And the Bible now says there is no knowledge against the Lord, no wisdom against the Lord. So I'm saying that the creator of all this is the one that has come to dwell in us now. And so every knee must bow before him. But we still must study that knowledge to use it to glorify the King of Kings. Not to reject it, but to study it to subdue the earth for the King of Kings.
It's interesting what Credo Mutua said. He said that before the advent of Europeans coming to Africa, he said that they had visits. That was the knowledge that was transmitted to him, that they had this system of belief, that they reject anything foreign. So they had their warriors, they had people already surrounded, that any foreigner cannot just come in and dominate them directly like that. But he said that they had visit of individuals they cannot explain, that the individual came with cross, a symbol of cross to them. So that when they saw that these their gods came in with cross, and then the next thing, they saw the European came in with cross through the ship and everything. So when they saw them coming with this cross, they were marveled. So that was the reason why, and that God that came to them told them not to touch Europeans. So that was the reason why they submitted to Christianity easily, because their gods showed them this cross symbol.
And
they knew
that
was
story,
something very important.
you say that story you are telling now collaborates with what I just told you about the wise men and about Jesus on the mountain of. So all knowledge, all wisdom, all strength that existed, they add to acknowledge the Son of God. And I believe that story. I believe the guy's story.
He has been living his life militant against Christianity, but he doesn't understand. He kept wondering why the people accepted Christianity, even though these Europeans came and enslaved them. He said he doesn't understand why would someone worship the God of somebody who enslaved you.
Because he doesn't understand that there is a difference between Christianity and Europeans.
Yes, and that was what he was trying to explain, that there were people who were being shown this thing in advance, even before the coming of the Europeans, that there would be a pale man that would come. So when the people saw the symbol, the cross symbol, they didn't fight them. They didn't try to kill the Europeans. Instead, they welcomed them. They thought it was another development that was coming in. So what they did was that they accepted some missionaries and initiated them into even their cult back. They initiated them into their cult. That was how it was infiltrated. So right now they're struggling to keep certain secret. And he is coming out to speak publicly because he wasn't allowed to speak.
Okay, can you imagine right now that I'm a black man? I came to Europe, to this place, to Europe to bring Christianity. Do you know what Europeans here in Ukraine are telling me? They are telling me, no, you are a black man. And the fact that you are black, it means that you are a voodoo person. You have brought black magic in the cover of Christianity to us. This is not, you cannot be a representative, you cannot preach Christianity to us. We are white, we have Christianity, we own Christianity. You own only voodoo. You can only preach voodoo. You see, that is the concern. The fact that I'm black doesn't mean that I'm preaching and I'm coming with voodoo. I'm black, but that the same thing with the Africans today. Africans always look at white people as Christians. But there is a difference between Christianity and white and Europeans. Being European doesn't mean that they are Christians. Even by saying they are Christian doesn't mean they are Christians. It means they only come from a Christian country or Christian continent. To be a Christian, you need to really have a relationship with the Lord. And those are the ones that that had the cross. Those are the ones that was shown to them, that received these people that have the cross. But because they are also white as well, a black man might not be able to know the difference, that these are white, these are white, these are white too. But there are whites that are committed Christians who have personal relationship with God, and there are other whites that don't. And they are the ones who colonize Africa. So, well, our time is over because we need to go to start the next topic. I mean, in 30 minutes.
Thank you. We'll continue this next time. Thank you so much. And